Hey YouTube, this is your boy, Blake. Would say it's a Blizzy Mobile video, but this really isn't pertaining too much to mobile devices today. I'm going to kind of sit back and talk a little bit. So, what I want to talk about, if you've kept up with my channel for some years, is recovery and addiction. Everyone probably has had some kind of family member, friend, somebody in their life that has gone through addiction issues and just is unable to grasp some control over it. And it's a very difficult thing to deal with family members and friends that are on drugs and alcohol because they're so unstable, and it induces a lot of emotional damage from the person that's using the drugs and the effect that they have on their family members whenever they're in their addiction, doing whatever, thieving, stealing, robbing, using, abusing, whatever it is. You know, I've been clean since late 2017. It is now 2023, and my addiction of choice was everything under the sun, but not really alcohol. I always used it with heavy uppers to moderate myself and get me back down, but I was prescribed Xanax since I was 13 years old and was quickly up to 6 milligrams, which is 3 Xanax bars a day, and would use well over that on some occasions, a lot of occasions, depending on what other drugs that I used. I was heavy with uppers and downers and on opiates. Was addicted to benzos and opiates for a good 10 years. And used both of those and methamphetamines and cocaine and stuff like that, and all together and mix them out all the time. I was an IV intravenous drug user, and that's where I adapted to, was the needle. Started off sniffing and swallowing and graduates to that real quickly, and a lot of people don't think, I would do that, and it happens. Constantly looking for new ways to up the ante and to get higher. So, late 17, early 18, I'm clean. COVID comes rolling around in 19, and I'm pretty sure that if I would have continued using, I definitely wouldn't have been on this planet anymore. And I decided that for myself, I was done with it. My family had turned their backs on me. My friends, or whatever real friends that I had to be done with me and to let go. And I had to go figure it out. And I quickly ended up on the streets with no family and nobody. Had a couple of people that gave me a place to lay down occasionally, but I was living in abandoned houses in my hometown and doing a lot of shit that I didn't need to. My story may not be the most hardcore, and I'm not trying to make it seem like that's the way I was, but I was taking a lot of drugs and was told by a lot of people that if I was to just stop my Xanax the way that I was doing those, that it was definitely would have led to a lot of bad consequences when it come to withdrawal. I was done, and I had gone through a couple of detoxes out in Daytona Beach. I had went to the detox out there in Daytona and stayed there for a little while and was able to get weaned down a little bit. They were giving me small doses of Ativan, and that was helping, but soon they were done with me and wanted to get me out of there, is the way that I took it, and I needed to figure it out even more. And I ended up in Daytona Beach on the streets because I had nowhere to go, and I didn't have a program to get into, and no resources, no identification, no nothing. On the streets of Daytona Beach, beachside, figuring it out. Well, I ended back up in another hospital, trying to get myself into a program and a detox, and I ended up back in Daytona Beach, detox there on Highway 92, and ended up being sent out to Jacksonville, Florida to go into a program that there was nobody waiting there for me and nobody to talk to. So once again, I ended up homeless in the streets of Jacksonville with no program, no ID, no paperwork, no nothing. Just got on a bus pass. They gave me a bus pass and I was there. Reached out to the hospitals and detoxes in Jacksonville and ended up in a detox out in Jacksonville. And basically got a counselor in there and was able to talk to somebody and let them know that, you know, I'm not leaving here until I get into a program. It's just not going to happen. What people were doing there was coming to stay for 4 and 5 days. They get put out. They go drink again or drug again, and then they can come back in 24 hours and have another roof over their head and some food and watch TV. And I wasn't trying to do that, but I, over a week, watched a lot of people do that process and continued to stay on that counselor and have him call the Salvation Army, which was one of the programs that I was really interested in because it was Christian based, and I've always had a relationship with the Lord, and that wasn't going to be hard for me to deal with. And I knew it would probably help me. I had a good feeling that it would help me. The Lord would help me with that. And that is what ultimately worked for me. Not cutting to the end of the story, but that is what ultimately worked for me. And I went to the Adult Rehabilitation Center, also known as the ARC, the Salvation Army in Jacksonville on Beach Boulevard. And they're all over the United States. These adult rehabilitation programs are awesome, man. They house you, they feed you, you work, you get paid a few dollars a week for cigarettes or whatever it is that you need to take care of yourself when it comes to that. You have housing right there. You have a Christian-based program that helps you get tight with the Lord again, and if you haven't ever, you maybe can discover Him. But I graduated from there late 18, got a job, moved into a sober house, and I did that for like 7 months, and was saving money and working and saving for a deposit on an apartment, and the Lord came through on that. A buddy of mine that I was in that program with ended up signing a lease and wanted to go move somewhere else, and he was able to get me on that lease, and I had a 2-bedroom apartment basically to myself, and ended up getting a roommate, and we were doing it up for a while. And just like many other instances, it fell apart, and roommates start drinking and drugging again, and you got to be rid of them. And once again, I was figuring it out because I couldn't stay there and he wasn't going to get out. So I had to go find a different path, and ended up being with a girl that wasn't for me. And we ended up moving to Lake City, Florida, where I had an apartment there I had gone into. Then me and her split up. And this is another part of all of this is relationships. I was about a year, a little bit less than a year, clean, and was in a relationship with somebody else that was fighting for their recovery and thought that I could save somebody once again when I'm barely able to help myself. So be careful with that. Relationships can be deadly in recovery. They'll drag you with them, or if you're not strong enough, or you can drag them with you if they're not strong enough. It's a lot of manipulation, a lot of trust issues, and things like that when it comes to two people in recovery. But I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying take your time early in your recovery. So me and her ended it. I'm living in Lake City and doing my thing, working, doing tile every day, 14, 16-hour days on my knees doing tile, getting back into the rhythm of working hard and producing and taking care of myself. And that was all going good. And like I said, that hiccup in that relationship, we're done with that. And now I have to figure it out again. And what ended up happening was me and my ex from Maine rekindled our relationship for a while, got back to talking, and decided I was going to take a huge leap and go to Maine and move there and figure it out and find a job and housing and everything. 3 years later, that's where I'm at. I live in a small town in Maine, and I have a really good job, making good money an hour, and life is pretty beautiful. And along this path, I've heard so many people die and so many people still struggling and homeless, and it just reminds me of even when I was trying to fight to stay sober and keep a roof over my head, I ended up homeless. God tested me in a lot of these different situations, roommates flaking out and stealing my rent money and relapsing and leaving us with paperwork on the door to leave. You know, the court's coming there and you have to pack up and leave, and you didn't even know that the rent wasn't paid for months, and people overdosing and crashing cars off of freeways and burning and fucking, excuse my language, but so many different ways, bad ways that people have died and are still suffering. I got a message from a buddy this morning or late last night that one of my buddies from my childhood, his girlfriend just overdosed and died. And like, I don't know, I don't even really get too emotional about it. I just really take a second when I hear stuff like that to remember where I was and how far I've come. I'm not perfect. I don't drink alcohol. I don't partake in any drugs. Be honest with you, I'm just going to leave it at that for my own liability. No drugs, no alcohol. For 7 years. Almost 7 years. It's great, man. I just want people to know that there are programs out there where they can help you, but with the ARC, if you're not open to Jesus Christ and a higher power and whatever that might be, and faith, to have faith in knowing that everything will be okay and taken care of, you just have to stay strong and pull through that time. Sometimes it's a long time, years. Sometimes it's hours, months, days. But life is just a huge test, and like when you fold and just give up, you'll never know what the end of that story might have been. I don't make a lot of videos about recovery, and I try for myself to stay very positive, and life is not easy, work is hard, and to have nice things in life, you have to work hard. I didn't know that for a long time in my life. I really had a very lax, easy childhood where things were just put out there for me and I was able just to have them. To earn and to know what the value of a dollar is a hard pill to swallow in these days. Everything is very expensive, and when it all is said and done, we're going to leave this earth with nothing. We're going to leave this earth with what we came into it, butt naked and with the Lord. You don't mean to put it like that, but you're leaving with nothing. All these bills, all of this extra shit, the cars, the money, it's all whatever while you're here and you're trying to survive and use it to survive. But money and possessions really just don't really mean too much to me. They're cars and clothes and all of that stuff are tools to help me produce and to keep me comfortable in a sense. But don't ever be complacent. Don't ever think that this shit is sweet and that you're going to have it easy and every day is going to be fucking rainbows and cupcakes and stuff. It doesn't. It's not easy, man. So I'm engaged now, and we have our own apartment and car payments and bills and all kinds of stuff. And I get really, really stressed out, man. I get really, really stressed out, and I'm not too good when I'm stressed out. I don't know how to deal with it in a lot of cases, but I deal with it the best I can. And that's what I recommend to you, to stay tight with the Lord. And whenever you doubt yourself or life, just know that He'll provide as long as you stay strong and you're trying to fight the good fight. When you're doing negative shit and you're doing people wrong and you don't care about people and their feelings and you just do them dirty and you're out to get whatever it is that you want for that moment, just know, man, we all got to meet our maker. And at the end of the day, when you meet your maker, you're going to be judged. You have to ask yourself right now, like, if you were to leave this world, if you were to die, fuck your legacy, all of that stuff. Your spirit, your soul. Are you going to go to heaven? Are you going to go to the light? Or are you going to go to the darkness? If you go to the darkness on this earth, don't expect to go to the light whenever you leave. You can't. It doesn't work like that. You don't get to give your soul and your spirit to the devil and do the dirt on this earth and then expect to go chill with Jesus in heaven and have peace and quiet and joy and love whenever you leave this earth. Have it while you're here so that you can keep that when you go. These are just my opinions, and this is just what's worked for me. I don't know. I'm just clean, you know what I mean? I've been clean for a handful of years. I don't know shit, but I do know this much. You got to be good to people and good on this earth to make it to the next life and to go to the right place. Do that nasty shit and you force people, or you get them to use drugs with you and you turn them into a drug addict when they might not have been, or you fucking kill people for money or whatever it is. If you're evil like that and you kill people and you take people down with you and you do it on purpose, there's a special place in hell for you. Child molesters along that too. You know, this country doesn't want to talk about that, but I'm telling you, if you're fucking using drugs and intravenously using drugs and street drugs at that especially, and even pharmaceuticals, because the pills are being repressed and people are putting fentanyl in, you're going to fucking die. I'm just telling you, it's a matter of time between using heroin, you're using fentanyl straight up, you're using methamphetamine, cocaine, all of that shit they're mixing fentanyl in. And you're going to get it, dude. I'm just so thankful that I got clean when I did, because I wasn't designed to be a piece of shit and to die. I had put my emotions and everything on a pill. The Xanax had taken over every bit of my emotions and who I was. That I had to first get off of that along with opiates at the same time to figure out that. Talk about not sleeping for almost a year. Talk about while you're homeless, you break your back in 2 spots, falling out of a camper while you're asleep in the middle of July in Florida with 140 degrees inside that camper. I had a grand mal seizure, and I broke my back and was homeless. Broken back, not going to the hospital, fucking in pain. The most pain that I've ever been in my life. And then still in that time, I wanted to be sober. And was figuring it out. When I broke my back, that's a whole nother story. But God, man, I'm telling you, take this story. It's almost 7 years later, and my back is okay now, and I'm blessed, man. It hurts, but I'm blessed. I shattered my L4 and my L5 like puzzle pieces in my lower back. So, oh, I hope you guys take this story and maybe can do something with it or give it to somebody and tell them that there is a chance out there that if a dumbass like me, whatever, I'm not trying to beat myself up, but if a person like me can fucking get clean, I'm telling you, anybody can. A little bit of faith, energy, and some time to work on yourself. You can do it. I'm going to let you guys go with this video. It's almost time for me to go to work and do my thing as far as that and my responsibilities. But just remember that life is not fucking easy. Be quiet. Life is not easy, and when it's all said and done, we have to answer to our Maker. And when you have to do that, I hope you had a clean spirit and soul on this earth. You guys have a great one. Please stay tuned. I'm going to try and do some more videos like this, recovery related. But it's just sad to hear about people dying, and you watch what's going on around this earth and really makes you wonder, what the fuck? The devil is real, and he's in the streets. He's everywhere and all the time, and he's trying to get you. You have to remember that. Every day is a spiritual war, and you can let yourself go real quick. You guys have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. Be good. Stay clean and sober, and remember, the Lord is with you.